Ooh, I'm not ready, but I'm going to get ready. I hope everybody is fantastic out there. Let's get this party started. There's a lot going on in the world, and let me know if my audio's choppy this time, but hopefully it won't be. Let's see.
Bad House 13, rock this mother. Need some competition, ain't no other. Bad House 13, rock this mother. Need some competition, ain't no other. Bad House 13, rock this mother. Bad House 13, rock this mother. Bad House.
All right, I'm going to turn the music down a little low.
I'm just about to heat up.
I know. So hopefully my audio will be okay. But we want to say howdy to April Watson, who was first in the chat, and happy Easter, Purple fam. We got Lori Johnson in the chat. We got Nick Felden from Denver. We got Cassandra Bradley, who is actually in their hometown of St. Louis, Missouri. And
St. Louis.
I love this. Oh, it's out of town, but still headed to the gym. I need to be more like you, Cassandra. One day. We got Andre. What up, though? We got Melvin Rush. It's going to be a beautiful day. Handelacia. Yes, that's right. We got dances in the house. We're going to talk about this. How are we feeling about the announcement of the parade expanded edition, not deluxe, expanded edition. So we're going to get to that. Hold on to your wallets. Let's see.
We printing up the riot flag signs yet?
We got boom
protest outside of Paisley Park.
We got a boom box.
This be the music. Release for right. Release for right. Mondale, stop bullshitting. We don't want to get that.
You better stop. You're going to get us off the air. Oh my God. We got Elisa Williams with us. We got Sister Charles from H-Town. We got Andre. Excited. I love this. Excited and saddened. No Super Deluxe edition for Parade. Maybe a sign that there would be no Super Deluxes in the future.
Shut up already.
Yes. That's a cause for pause right there. Just...
Man, best believe we right.
I love this LTKK. It is another chance to kick it with our purple uncles and cousins.
Yeah.
Hey, folk, I love that. Thank you so much. People are already voicing their concerns in the chat.
Well, let's get to the intro so we can get to it, because we got to talk about it.
So we got to say hello to TP Libra, who's doing their yard work. We got Christina from Minneapolis. We got Diva for Justice. Hey, Clarissa. And we got Run Kayla in the house. We got our timekeeper in the house. Timekeeper, don't time keep, because you know we got to talk about it. We got to have...
What up, Kim?
Raywin, Michael Dean is back. I know that you are absolutely ecstatic and love this, Jamal. Yes, please share, like, and subscribe. Love this on the one. Yes, welcome back to Michael Dean. We got EA8133 from San Francisco. We got Rockabosh back to the purple.
Rocker.
And we got Lady Cab Driver. We got Karan. Thank you so much. 404 Day. What's 404 Day? Do you know? Clue us in, Kim. I'm out of the loop. What up, Theo? You haven't been here in a while. It's so great to see you here. We got Chris Bournet. And we got Purple Cat Confetti. We got Heavenly Games. We got El Tabara. And...
Don't move.
All right. I love this. Looking forward for more extraordinary conversations.
Yeah. Oh, nappy head, brother.
We got Crispy in the house. Yes. Oh, so Atlanta Day, April 4th. I still don't know what that means, but okay.
Oh, is it like a LA Day or something? Some kind of celebration?
I don't know.
LA? All right, West Coast.
Yeah, we got Australian Gabrielle here. And we got Mr. Michael Reed at Release It.
Yeah. Read it. She's the
Oh my God. Okay. All right. So, and Mooches, welcome. Love Sexy 71. And let's see. Okay, we got to post this. We got all the 1999 sometimes. We want the Parade Super Deluxe. Okay. Maybe it's a Star Wars thing.
May the Force be with you.
Okay, Cassandra's breaking it down for us. Every city has one for your area code to go out and eat your favorite food and wear gear. Okay. All right.
That's a keyboard.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get through with this
right.
housekeeping super fast so we can get into this expanded edition conversation. So we're week 14 of What Did Prince Do This Week. Not only is this a book club, but it's also an interactive Saturday salon where we're going to talk about it. So this is we're going to flip it. Salon time first today, and then we're going to come back to the salon, and then we're going week to week, not date to date. We are reading Monday, March 31st. Get that date ready in your books. Monday, March 31st, Thursday till Thursday, April 3rd, and you do not need but
yeah, you just get one of these.
Just one of them. Any of them, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And please subscribe. Hit that notification button as you come on in. That would be lovely. And our hashtag is WDPDTW. And obviously, this is an independent endeavor. The estate of Prince Rogers Nelson is not affiliated or associated or connected with the What Did Prince Do This Week book club series.
Don't move.
And we want to remember our community guidelines. We choose to be a community even when we disagree, and this is a safe space.
I heard about y'all last week.
Yes, we need make sure we keep that at the forefront. All right, so now we's ready, Michael Dean.
Well, I mean, I don't know. So I guess the expectation is that we want to get a proper box super deluxe edition of Parade. I assume that's the assumption. That's the easy answer. That's the cheat code, I would say. Like, put that out. But it's a little confusion. What do you say? Confusion lighting all around me. Because we're not entirely sure what it's going to be. We know that it was be some sort of expanded edition. If we go by sort of what we just got with Around the World in a Day, it would just be the album proper, 12-inch singles, maybe some 7-inch, remixes and stuff like that. But we want the juice. We want the vault. We want the same way we did 1999 package, which was fantastic. The same way they did Sign of Times, which for me is the Holy Grail package. Even the same way they did Diamonds and Pearls, same way. So, I guess, like I said, the expectation is an album like Parade. What it means to the fans, what it means to Prince's discography, just the catalog. Like, that's just an important album that I don't think you can skimp on. And I'm not, I'm ready for pitchforks and all that, but to be very clear, I'm still want to give them some grace. Maybe they just the communication on what's going to be offered isn't necessarily clear right now. So I'm gonna give them an opportunity to do that. But I mean, come on, don't play around with some of these, some of these albums like the Holy Grail joints. Like, come on, man. Like, we already know there's a lot of material. Live shows. This is an important era of Prince that just needs to be, given the proper treatment. Now, I'll say this. I have no idea how these box sets sell. I have no idea what it takes to produce these box sets either, right? So there's obviously,
This is a business.
I get that, but come on, if there's any point where maybe you do something, and of course it has to be all about profitability, but there's certain things that are just worth more than the dollar amount right now. You know what I mean? Like, this is curation. This is like, again, this is like a fine piece of art. So there should be a space where there is a limited edition, limited quantity made. Maybe it's just a short run, but there is a fan base. There is a consumer that is willing to pay 300 plus or whatever it needs to be to get a very proper when they drop that box, boom, that's what we want to feel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna grab it because it's too big, but that, when you get that box and you open it up and it's Sign of the Times 1999 or Parade, yeah, I want that album to come out pristine. Oh, and all the pictures. You know what I'm saying? I want to get that Blu-ray of whatever concert. I don't really care what it is. At this point, it just needs to be in the best quality possible. We know all this stuff exists. That's the thing. We as the fans know there's all this material. We don't know what state it's in, but we know it exists. And yeah, man, we need to show some proper love to Parade. That's all it really is. So that's my take on it, man. Like, I know y'all not gonna play with that one. If nothing else, come on now. But I guess we'll see. What's your thoughts?
So I'm kind of with Theo. So obviously I want a super deluxe. Anybody who knows me should know that's what I want.
Yeah.
Particularly for Parade and particularly for like the live shows, like any Under the Cherry Moon outtakes. Like, it could be like super deluxe, and when you bring in Under the Cherry Moon, get that like 4K remaster and all of that would be phenomenal. But if we're not going to get a super deluxe, and by expanded, I would rather that it lean more towards Purple Rain expanded versus Around the World in a Day expanded. Because at least with the Purple Rain expanded, we got some of the songs that are quote unquote in the vault, out in the ether, just really remastered properly. So if we can't get a super uber deluxe, which that's what I want, a really middle place would be what Theo is saying here. So, like you, Michael, and if you go back, our first year of doing this, the one thing I keep saying over and over again, I would love to know how many people buy the deluxe box sets. Because there are a lot of other fandoms, let's say your David Bowie's, your Doors, your Neil Young's, they have like these multi-CD, multi-vinyl run all of the time. So why can't Prince also get that super deluxe treatment when we know he has the goods, meaning like the songs are there, the shows are there, like technically, like if, they could do something different and just release like a live show box set. That would be phenomenal. Like Parade Live, and maybe get like a 4K version of the birthday show. There's so many ways that you could flip this. Like if you don't want to do the super uber deluxe, and like you said, this era is so very important. Okay.
Didn't they haven't they been showing some Parade era show recently?
Yes.
Supposedly in 4K now. So, I mean, they already got, so it's not like they don't have stuff ready to go, but go ahead, Mom.
We're going to bring to the stage the one that said there would never be another Celie.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Out, right?
The Parade special deluxe.
Well, we don't know if it's going to. It was said expanded.
Some kind of expanded edition.
Yeah, expanded edition. That's not deluxe.
Okay. My bad.
Yeah, so we're trying to figure out what it's going to be. And yeah, I love this. Yeah, yeah. Jimi Hendrix also has a really great estate in terms of releasing different versions of things. Um, and I love that there are several different editions of that one remaster release.
And how many albums did Jimi Hendrix have?
I think wasn't it 4 or was it 3? Somebody, who are the Hendrix scholars out there?
The point to say is he ain't got like 30, 40 something things. So if they can do it,
yeah,
Prince is the one you do it for. Like he's the one who actually has the body of work that you can do this type of stuff, and you wouldn't be repeating. And you know what I mean? Each one could be totally its own thing. Like each album probably has 3 albums worth of outtakes and other things, you know what I mean? Associated stuff. So I don't know.
Yeah. So with the Hendrix, does that include Band of Gypsies?
That's what I was thinking. I was wondering if the 3 includes Band of Gypsies.
That's what I want to know. Can somebody do their Googles so we can be literate on our Hendrix? Because that's important.
And I'm going to throw this out here. I was thinking about this.
No.
Solely random to this, but about Prince. I'd love to get you guys' opinion on this. Does it? I'll say this. It feels to me like, as much as we, I hold Prince at the top of the echelon of music. You know, he's up there with, you know, for me the tops would be, you know, James, Stevie, Aretha, you know, and I'm just sort of throwing top of mind, but he's one of those ones. And some people would say, you know, Paul McCartney, John Lennon, or Hendrix, you know, name your top guitarist of all time list or whatever. You know what I mean? Like they have all these sort of respected critical artists. But I wonder, does the pop success of Prince, does that get in the way of the sort of more serious? I mean, to me, you're supposed to take his artwork serious. Of course, you have fun with it, and he's a fun guy. But I mean, in terms of just the critical sort of eye and respect, like that's why. And I bring this to say there should be no question that Prince doesn't get these super deluxe sort of critical looks at his work, because he is the, you know, he would be the person you would do that on, the same way they would not question Jimi Hendrix or a Beatles thing or a Springsteen. There's no question about doing that for that. And I wonder, is there a question about doing that for Prince? Like, is it just being judged purely on a financial basis? Or what? Like, I don't understand. And you know, we'll see, as Prince fans, we always seem to be like, no, he should be on this list or that list or whatever. But why do you think that he's not? It just seems like you always have to prove. And this, I kind of know the answer to this, but I'm very curious to see what you guys think of this, or am I just out of talking crazy?
So I want to answer your question, but I want to respond to Rockabosh 2081 about Band of Gypsies. And I want to be clear, Rockabosh is correct, but I'm glad Rockabosh put that up, because I was wondering, and I was glad Prop Duff asked the question, when people were saying 3 albums, were they not counting Band of Gypsies? Because 2 things, y'all know I love my phrase, 2 things can be true. Yes, Rockabosh is completely true. However, I think that Band of Gypsies is equally as important as those other 3 records, specifically because it's documenting Jimmy's shift, his musical transition, right? And I think that, and I'm one of those people that it's my pet peeve that people leave out Band of Gypsies, that people don't, you know. And again, I know I'm one of the few people who come on here who rock for Chaos and Disorder, right? Because people use the same thing, where Chaos and Disorder was a throwaway album and he was just doing it. That's, yes, 2 things can be true. Chaos and Disorder is a fucking great record. It is probably one of Prince's best, as close to straight on rock albums that you're going to get. And so in the same way, so I'm glad that Rockabosh put that in, because I was wondering how many people weren't counting Band of Gypsies, simply because one, it was for a contractual thing, and then also it's not quote a mainstream or popular record or thing that we associate with the Jimi Hendrix Experience. That then leads me to what Brother Dean was saying. I agree with everything you just said, and add on to what we've also said. Prince's primary problem is that he was too good at too many different things. And when you are that good, you know, when you think about it, the human brain, one of the things that we like to do is we like to simplify things to make them easy to understand. Like we like to turn, the human brain has been making memes before memes existed. I think people need to understand that a meme is not something new. A meme is the outgrowth of what we've been. Language is a meme. You have to understand the word tree, right? T-R-E-E doesn't actually directly represent a tree, because if it did, when I said the word tree, everybody would think of the same type of tree. So because we understand that language is metaphoric and figurative in nature, the human brain likes to narrow things down to a simple formula. And the problem with Prince, Brother D, as you were saying, is that you can't narrow him down to a simple formula, right? That's why the white rock critics didn't want to accept him as a guitar player. That's why somebody like Quincy Jones could make a silly statement, Prince is not a real piano player. That's why somebody could say, and so what happens, and then when you add to the fact that Prince did lean into the commercialism, like Prince himself said that, hey, I know that for a lot of people, I'm only gonna be the dude who had his butt out on MTV, right? And so when you take all those things into what you said, that he was a pop artist who's been regulated also to a particular moment in time, right? That's why for 40 years, I never actually wrote an article about, I never did a presentation on Purple Rain, not because I don't love it, not because I don't think it's a great record, but simply because I never wanted to be a part of linking. We made Purple Rain more into an albatross than we made, and not when I say we, not those of us here, not people in the chat, but I'm just talking about the culture in general. They made Purple Rain an albatross where they can anchor and tie Prince to a moment in time and then disregard. So then what happens is, unlike Miles Davis, and I will say this is more true of jazz artists gets movements, right? You have jazz, Miles has this period and that period. Painters, Prof. Duff can attest to, painters have movements, right? Of any other artist, I would say that Prince and David Bowie have had the type of movements, right, where their styles and their themes have changed in a way that you could equate them to a Miles Davis. Unfortunately, David Bowie gets more critical acclaim, and I will argue because it's white critics giving that to a white artist, as opposed to we need more critics, we need more black critics, we need more people saying, hey, Prince had movements just like Miles Davis, just like David Bowie, and they deserve to be studied. But again, because he's so varied and has so much, it's difficult for people to get their brain around him when you simply want him to be a meme. I'll shut up.
All right. And there was a lot said there, Celie.
Tree. I love it.
And the one thing that I keep coming to post Prince is the New York Times article of Jan Wenner. That actually reveals so much.
Which one is that?
So he was one of the co-founders of Rolling Stone.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about.
So that's the reason why Prince would have never made any top.
Yep.
Well, for those who actually, can you give the context of what that was about? Because some people may not know what you're referring to.
So Jan Wenner basically wrote a book. I don't remember what the book's name is. And there are no Black artists, and neither are there any women. So it's not just about Black artists. It was also about females. And I'm paraphrasing this, but he basically said that Black artists and females were just not at the level of the white musicians when it came to everything. I don't even know if he said like they
and he said they were inarticulate.
Yes.
Wow. And remind, this is the editor of, or was the editor of Rome?
The founder.
co-founder.
Founder. Wow. So this is why all them articles back in the day
Mm-hmm.
realized people were being like interesting.
Mhm.
Yes. So I would highly
Mm.
recommend that you do your Googles, as Michael Dean would say, and look up Rolling Stone Jan Wenner. And it's JNNWENNER. And read it
And
for
you know, and just to say too, I mean, for those who weren't around in the sort of heyday of Rolling Stone and particularly magazines, which sounds so crazy today, I suppose, that was, if you know, Rolling Stone had music culture in a chokehold, essentially.
Yep.
Like if you was on that cover or you was talked about in that magazine, you was considered legitimate. Like, oh, okay, that's the stand, you know what I mean? If they stamped you, you was good. So now you realizing, oh, this is why we weren't really being seen like that really in those you had to be a Michael or a Prince or somebody to get that type of look, because they weren't gonna let El DeBarge or Zap or some of our people that we love, they weren't gonna put that on there, and they would probably play it off and say, oh, it ain't rock or something. But now we really get the idea what was going on.
Yes. And so that's really problematic because they, like you said, Rolling Stone held that reign for decades, actually, and sort of shaped musical culture and criticism. So it boils down to a couple things. Twyla Perry says this all the time, and Lee says this as well, that more female and just any people of color should write more about Prince and write more about music in general and get it published. You know, that's really, really important. And also, that's one of the reasons why I do the symposia, so that you can get a different perspective from different kinds of people. So it's really important that Prince is contextualized in the way that we revere Paul McCartney, John Lennon, David Bowie. Like, he's right up there with them. And the thing is, like, I think it was you, Michael, who just said, you know, like Michael and Prince could sort of break through, but they always had to like constantly prove themselves. And they really
Overachieve. You had to be,
Yeah,
you know, which bleeds into how we act when in jobs and everywhere. You know, we was taught that you got to be double the time. You know, it's the same.
Well, not only overachieve, but to Prof Duff's point, the phrase "fell off" is only applied to Black artists. Nobody, when white artists become legacy artists. We just now started applying the term to legacy. Shout out to my wife Joe down in New Orleans yesterday to go see the New Edition Way tour. I'm still salty they left me, but let's move on. But so to that point,
no pressure.
And there you go, right? We should, as Black folks, stop using that phrase "fell off," because we don't say that about white artists. So it's double. We have to overachieve, right? We got to be 3 times better. And then when we stop having hits, we somehow fell off. Yet white legacy artists can tour forever and never have a hit. In fact, there's a joke, and I think what is it? It is either the 5 or 7 most hated words at a concert is. And here's a song from my new album, right? That's a joke that white rock people tell all the time. So yeah, and I'll shut up. Yeah, and so I wanted somebody put it, and I just say this about Warner being a voter for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I want to say this. What I found interesting is when people complain about the racism of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I'm amazed that y'all are actually complaining about the wrong racism. And I try to do this quickly. The racism on which people focus is when somebody like Gene Simmons or somebody says hip hop shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, right? Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's not the right racism. That's you actually are focusing on the prejudice, but not the racism. Here's the racism. The racism is that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame was founded on a type of music that white folks had believed that they had completely co-opted, taken as their own and would control forever. And here's the problem. Once that particular music was no longer the most popular form of music, the only way that they could continue to make money is to allow hip-hop artists into the hall. So the racism is not that you have individual white artists not wanting black artists or hip-hop artists into the Hall of Fame. The racism is that what the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is actually doing is actually attempting to commodify and co-opt another form of music, only because that other form of music is the dominant form of music that will get more people to come to the hall. If they stop letting in quote rock art acts right now, it will become a museum that won't be a living, breathing cultural statement. So what they are doing is letting in hip hop folk strictly for the money, not for the respect, not for the culture, but they want the money. And that is really and I've always contended that what hip hop should have done is created its own Hall of Fame. At some point, I'll end on this. At some point,
they got that coming.
Yeah, and that's at some folk. We have to stop going with our hat in our hand to our oppressor, begging our oppressor to.
Can you say that part one more time?
We got to stop going with our hat in our hand, begging our oppressor to be nice to us. Folk, you cannot fight and beg the same person. And at some point, we have to build institutions that we validate rather than running to us. Because if we did that, then to Prof. Duff and Brother Dean's point, our greatest of the greatest, our Prince, our Michael Jackson, our people we love, won't have to go running to them other folk to play them games and can be and what we need them to be in our community. I'll shut up.
Show's over.
Yes.
Thank you. Good night.
Thank you. Good night. All right. So there are some comments I want to come back to about the parade expanded edition that I think we should kind of double click on. One is from Eric, because I've heard you say this, Michael, that if you put like some of the vault tracks just out on digital even, would that be okay? That would be okay for some people. It wouldn't be okay for me.
Well, I mean, right. You want to physically have it. Absolutely.
So let me tell you why. So, we're gearing up for the symposium. I sent out a newsletter last weekend. I'm about to send out a new one. And I was like, oh my God, you can watch Under the Cherry Moon on YouTube for free. And I click on that same link today, and now you have to buy or rent it. So like, you can't rely on digital always being there, and you can't rely on digital always being free. So I very much believe in having your own archives and your own physical media, because that to me, physical is the best backup you can have, because things disappear off the interwebs, and sometimes you have to pay for it. Like now you have to pay for Under the Cherry Moon. I thought it was fantastic. I have been listening to, because it was so accessible on YouTube, I had just started listening to Under Cherry Moon on repeat while it was working. And now I miss that, so I have to, drag out my own copy, which is fine. But it was nice that it was available. And then this comment from Theo, I think really, really important. So we're at a point now where no one is going to be able to see Prince live ever again in real life. And the next best thing you're going to get are amazing concerts like Live at Glam Slam, Sign of Times Live on IMAX. Incredible. So again, that's the reason why, just, give us a live box set, let the people see what an amazing performer Prince is, particularly during the parade era when he was just so darn happy. He was just so darn happy. And he was in band leader mode. So that would be a different Prince, like the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame performance people would see that Prince was more than just a guitarist. They could see that he could actually command the band and things of that nature. So this is really important. So thank you for that, Theo. And
And I need you, like Brother Dean said, I need you to say that again about the live box set. Say that one more time. That we need what?
we need a live box set of Prince. Bring it on. Yeah, so like there are, I think Neil Young has like all these volumes of all of his live shows that are available. I want that for Prince. Just bring it on.
Absolutely.
That would be really, really amazing.
And include in that after show sets.
Yes, yes, yes. And rehearsals.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, man. Yes.
Yeah, man. All that. I'm with y'all. I'll take it either way, as long as it's out. There's just no reason why you cannot be releasing this stuff in some capacity.
Yeah.
They're not releasing anything. That's what's the problem. It's like, and you know you have it, right? They have special events where you can go view it at Paisley Park, which is great too. But I mean, that's a very limited audience. And otherwise, it's just sitting in the vault when it's not showing. Like, but you know, the other part of it is Prince's music will not be stopped.
Right.
Whether they release anything or not, you can still go on YouTube, and the people gonna release it and see the magical Prince in a way that you want to. So either way, it's gonna come out. But I would love. There's no reason why the estate's not putting this stuff out in the best possible quality. You know.
Yes, for sure. All right.
There you go, Sneak. There you go, brother Sneak. Also, just want to say, Brother Sneak has done it again. He's got another new documentary going on his channel. So y'all go to Brother Sneak's channel. He's got a new Sneak with the Harvard study. So check that out. Brother Sneak is always at the forefront. And I want the estate to hire Brother Sneak as a consultant if they ever do a documentary. That's it. I'll shut up.
That'd be incredible. Put the link in the chat so I can add it to the accompanying playlist. That would be great. All right. So Kim gave us a time check like 6 minutes ago. I was going to say like 30 minutes ago. So we played at the top of the hour 13, the Paisley Park mix. And the reason why we played 13 instead of 14, because 14 is super slow. And I know that Michael Dean wasn't going to have no slow music at 9 in the morning. So we switched it to 13, Paisley Park mix, which is incredible. It's only available on the single. And this was actually the second and last single off of Madhouse 16. And we are into.
You know what's going to be a great problem to have? And I will say this, hopefully it happens sooner than later, but then I don't want it to happen. But there's going to be the day when they put that stuff out, Madhouse stuff, and all of these episodes are going to go by.
It'll be
copyright.
But it'll be worth it.
I mean, that would be the best reason why. Like,
finally. It would be worth it for sure. But yeah, I've been thinking about it, and we could not play music, but then I don't think you would be happy. So only because you're the one that has to wake up early, and I know that
does it get me up?
Get you in.
When I realize and have empathy and sympathy for Brother Dean about how early he got to get up. I'm telling you, this is how selfish people are. So I'm letting y'all know I'm selfish. The only time I have empathy for him is that when he goes live late at night and I happen to be up, I'm like, it's been a goddamn what Brother Dean? It's one. My bad. So I be so bad. What the hell? Brother Dean, I'm live.
How does it feel?
Yeah, exactly. I'm like,
oh my God. Okay, I love this idea, Gabrielle. I'm actually under Cherry Moon. That would be incredible for sure. All right. So, El Michelle wants to bring back Prince on the big screen. I'm not mad at that for celebration.
Yeah, that was fantastic. That's so funny. What happens that just sits in a vault somewhere? I guess. I mean, you can't really. That would be something to travel with. They had an opportunity to do that around the country. That'd have been dope.
Yeah, they could have traveled that for sure. And I love that Gabrielle is pointing out in Australia it is 2:38 a.m.
Okay.
Props, Gabrielle. Props.
Yes, Michael Dean can't play.
Top of the morning, mate.
And a complete random thing, because I love grapes. I've been walking around the house all week with grapes going, Billy Eckstein, he ain't, baby.
Hilarious.
So whenever I walk into the room, my wife just started rolling her eyes like,
Oh,
the next
Lord.
time he ain't, baby. All right, we can move on.
Hilarious.
All right. Okay. I love this. Put that 82 Met Center show on IMAX. Okay, here we go. So we're episode 166. I can't believe it. Week 14. This week, Prince did 2 studio sessions, 1 live concert, and he also released a little ditty called Parade. And Parade was released on March 31st on the Monday, the last day of March. And then in addition to that, as we enter April of 1986, he worked on adding the horns for the 12-inch version, as well as a mix of Mountain. And there was a possible mix of Wonderful Day, possible mix of Do You Lie, and a possible mix of the extended mix of Another Lover Hole in Your Head. And on Thursday, he did an incredible hit and run show at Boston, and D68A has that show on the channel. It's in the accompanying playlist. So if you haven't heard it, I highly recommend that you listen to it. I really love that version of Another Lover Hole in Your Head.
That is my favorite. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Go ahead.
That is my favorite hit and run show. That is my favorite show of the Purple Rain. It is like they are cooking with fatback grease. I mean, it is, man. Look, like if you go to D38A show, because if you ain't heard the Boston show, it is and that y'all know my favorite run when they go through that DMSR and how much is the document? They blaze through the DMS. Oh my God, that Boston show is electric. It is on fire. All right, that's it.
Like Mariah. All right. I love the comment from Batman 1264. Still remember picking up the tape of Parade and smelling that new tape smell. I missed that. I love that. Thank you so much. All right. And no, we don't have it, but I don't know if it was Pro Shot, but it's not making the rounds. But I don't know. So I'm sure something's out there somewhere in somebody's archive. Okay, so let's get this party started. Who wants to read page? Well, no, we're not doing pages. We're going to do the date of Monday, March 31st, 1986.
That's a long one, ain't
it?
Yep. I'll do it. Right. But
hey, you know what? Hey, what Brother Ted said, everybody gangster, they got to read.
Oh my God. Okay, here we go. Now, I haven't done my due diligence yet. Someone needs to look up this note, and it's note 58 in the back of the book, because I want to know when the year that Prince said this. So the quote says, Parade was a disaster.
Man.
Apart from Kiss, there's nothing on it I'm particularly proud of. The temptation is to go right back into the studio and make a killer album, but I think half the problem with Parade was that I recorded it too soon after Around the World in a Day, and I just didn't have enough good material ready. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Now, this doesn't sound like Prince to me, because he's never really talked that much about his music projects. He usually leaves it to us to make our own interpretations. So I've always wondered about this quote.
I looked. It says it's Prince interview by Barney Hoskins.
Yeah.
A book called Imp of the Perverse, which I remember hearing about that book.
I have
Virgin
that.
Books.
Yeah.
Page
I'm gonna,
108.
Yeah, and he's a pretty reliable dude. That's kind of, yeah.
Okay. He said it.
Now, one of the things before we get into the reading that I always think about is that, with the exception of Kiss, he really doesn't play many of these songs after the Parade.
Right.
Which is a shame.
Right.
It is a shame.
Now, and I will say that when Miles talked about hitting and missing, right, and hitting being getting from your head to what's on record, and missing getting, you didn't get what was in your head on record.
Mm-hmm.
And when Miles gave the example of where he missed, he said Sketches of Spain. So I was kind of like, well, whatever was in your head, I'm glad you missed, because I love Sketches of Spain. So I think we could also take that from the Miles thing, that sometimes when an artist creates something, it could be great, but it still bothers them that they didn't get that was exactly in their head, if that makes sense. Now, I don't know if that's what Prince saying that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
But that's different from Parade was a disaster.
Right, you're right.
You know, I would wonder if, and this is the way I look at it. I think the live presentation of the album is so vastly different and better, in my opinion, that I wonder if it's sort of like the way we do it now versus the way it was recorded is so different and it's so dope. I mean, because if you hear the added horn stuff that he's putting on these songs, and I wonder if it was just a case of maybe they didn't cook it enough in the studio to obviously what it became. Because I think, to me, you know, and we'll get into it, when it first came out, it was some of the songs I was still a little lukewarm to figure out. But when I heard them live, it was just such a head buster. Like, God, that's the version I listened to of these songs, or the 12-inch versions. I wonder if that's sort of what he was sort of maybe thinking, like, man, because it's not like the material is dope.
Yeah.
Like when they perform it, it's fire, but it's such a elevated presentation of those songs live, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Okay, I normally don't talk about the, you know, like I want to keep it moving, but actually I want to respond to what you just said, Michael. So you know more than anybody, you've been with me for a very long time, 166 episodes, that I prefer Prince's live music over the studio version. In fact, I rarely listen to Sign of Times as an album. I always listen to Sign of Times live. Mm-hmm. And I only pull it out if I want to hear like Ballad of Dorothy Parker or something like that. Now, the only album where that is an exception is Parade. And the main reason why I prefer the studio versions of a lot of the songs on Parade is because of Claire Fisher. And what you don't get, you know, is that same sort of, you know, that velvet lush bed of the orchestration in the live show, which for me is all about Parade. And then another thing I think for me is because I don't really see Parade as a standalone album, I always view it as the soundtrack to Under the Cherry Moon. That, like, for me, it's about the versions of the song in Under the Cherry Moon, but just because of the Claire Fisher Orchestra. Take it away, C. Lee.
I agree.
Okay.
Short and sweet.
Yeah. One funny thing somebody put, and I think it was, and forgive me, y'all, when I mess up the name. What is it? Bodhisattva now?
Bodhisattva. And I only know this because I'm a Steely Dan fan. They have a song called Bodhisattva.
This is just hilarious to me. Yet not one bad word about Graffiti Bridge. That's hilarious. Mic drop. We should pin that. That if you try to tell me you ain't got one bad name, again, I don't feel that way about Graffiti Bridge, by the way. I actually like the album. The movie's another thing, but I actually like the album, so I'm not that bad. But the fact that, like you said, we got this quote about Parade and not one bad quote, which we get back to what Man Ray 10 said, sometimes you just got to take Prince's comments with a grain of salt.
Yeah, for sure. Now I gotta, so Melvin, I love this comment, but I need a whole year. I would love to spend time in the vault, but I need some time. Yes, it was so lush. Go ahead.
Then I think was it brother Brene asked about how much in the vault has been digitized.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, not everything has yet been digitized, right? They're still in the process.
Correct.
And so to the question, from what I understand, y'all can correct me, it's more about how massive it is than how much it costs.
Yeah.
Right. That I think the problem for the digitizing is how massive it is and not just the cost. But I guess it being massive will equate to cost. But from what I understand, it's just so much that they're just trying to make their way through it. And again, the question is, it's easy for me to tell somebody, well, just hire somebody for that. I don't know what the budget is, right? Like, exactly. The first thing, well, because I'm gonna be honest, when you talk about the live box set, selfishly, when Prince first transitioned, and they were talking about the estate and all of that, the job that I wanted was digitizing all the live stuff. Like they could have just paid me in lunch and dinner, and I'd have moved to Minneapolis
You have any experience doing that? Or just
Not at all. Not at all. But that's why they could have paid me in lunch.
right.
Everybody,
And when them bad boys came out, what the fans would have tore.
Which machine is this? All these buttons or some of them? I mean, do I push the highs high and the lows low? How y'all want it digitized?
There are fans in here too. Their excuse of, well, he hired his bodyguards to be in the band, so we hired fans to do it.
Not Kirky. Me and not Kirky. Me and Kirky J.
Wow. Here you go.
Okay, let's see what Eric's talking about. One of the things on Super Deluxe Edition should be the full album with all Claire Fisher strings.
Absolutely.
Yes. I
In a perfect world.
Yes. Go ahead. Tell us.
That would be again, even if it was some way they couldn't afford to put it out like that, you put it digital. And maybe it was like when you bought the box set, you got a code and you could, there wasn't enough room to put everything. There's enough room to put it digitally. We don't have to edit nothing down. You don't have to put the 7-inch mixes on. Put the Claire Fisher string arrangements on there.
That's right.
They'll be hitting all
Now, the one thing we talked about this in the first year, but for LTKK, it's really important that they actually start from the oldest because tape curates. And I know at the time when they were digitizing, they had to bake some of the tapes. I think they talked about that at Sunset Sound on those when they were doing a lot of rounds of conversations about Prince. And the thing is, I think I could be wrong. Someone probably more knowledgeable in the chat can help me out. But I think when you bake a tape, like you can't bake it again. It's like kind of one and done. So yeah, that's actually kind of important because otherwise we're going to lose a lot of stuff just because this tape just is not the best backup.
Somebody made a point about his clothes and things of that nature. And, they beautifully release, you see them on social media where they'll spotlight different things, which is great. But I guess we still got to keep in mind, they're not only focusing on the music, but they're also focusing on, the other stuff too. And all of that stuff gotta cost a lot of money to employ seamstress and all this and curators. And so I don't know, is this a matter of prioritizing, what do the fans want, it kind of given an all approach because there's a lot going on with Prince, but I don't know, maybe should they prioritize doing the music first or should they prioritize doing the shoe collection? I mean, there's so many different things going on with, this is why Prince is such a big thing too. So
yeah. So Kim verified that you only get one pass when you get the tapes processed.
Oh, wow.
So that's really, really important.
Never mind, it's not a job for me then. and to the clothes part, that was my second thought, Brother Dean. And then I realized, good thing that I couldn't wear none of them clothes because I'd have been the brother to steal your clothes and wear them in your face the next day. What happened to the suit from Versace? I don't know what happened to it. I don't
Seeley coming here with them lace pants with the lace back. Like, man, who ripped the ass part in
from the Soul Brother shot down the street? I don't know what y'all talking about.
Seeley sitting in the studio with the get off pants on.
Yep.
Oh, sweaty in the back. Come on.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I'm gonna start reading. Oh, before I start reading though,
I clean every day.
So as we know, there's so much going on in Prince world. Every day is an anniversary. So on Monday, not only was it the 40th anniversary of Parade, it was also the 39th anniversary of Sign of the Times because both were released on March 31st in their respective years. So there are always like something going on. So I can imagine like if you had to be in charge of what to digitize or what, like it gets complicated like real quick because there's so many anniversaries.
Look, I know you got to read, so I just make this quick. Brother Sneak, there you go.
Okay, Kim.
Hey, Brother Saniq, I know this is gonna surprise you. That's not even a hard question for me. I go for number one. I would rather have the 4K renderings of every performance and concert over that level. Like for me, it's always been about the live. It's so I want the live stuff. All right, y'all go ahead and read.
I'm with you. Okay.
What is
so,
it? Oh man, give me the album stuff first. I'm
You want
sorry.
the album stuff? Okay.
Yeah.
What? Not the thing.
Yeah.
What?
Well, just because I like to listen. I mean, I
Yeah,
gotta hear it.
I hear you. But it's something about watching them though.
Oh no,
Like,
I'm not disagreeing. Yeah.
and I'm telling you, I'm still stuck on the Love Bazaar performance with Sheila at the wharf. I'm still
Badass.
watching that.
I just can't play that in the car. When I'm in the drive, when I'm walking, it's like, I got it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm with you. I need to see it too.
Well, see, the thing about it, if we get the 4K video, then we can dub it to our own stuff.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Okay. So Monday, March 31st, Parade is released in 1986, and pop music had caught up to Prince, or more accurately, caught up to where Prince was. Groups like Ready for the World mimicked his brand with sound-alike songs such as Oh Sheila. But by the time they released their album in fall of 1985, Prince had moved on. So once again, Prince took an unexpected turn with his music, adding Claire Fisher's touches on many of the tracks, which took his sound in a completely different direction than his previous release. But that was always the case. Prince always did different. Despite the potentially dubious and out of character quote credited to Prince about his disappointment, the album is considered a critical success, although there were many who were confused by his new direction, according to Lisa. It was another very experimental kind of record for us. I remember we had just gotten the Fairlight. It was like a new toy. It inspired us, and we wrote a lot of new and different sounding things. Because we were also really high on the popularity of Purple Rain, we had all of this momentum. So as musicians, we were really bold and brave. I think other musicians can feel that when they listen. There's an irreverence to it. It's all over the place. It's the kind of stuff that record companies hate, but musicians love. Now, this is a really great quote from Lisa about Parade, and I'm going to read that again. It's the kind of stuff that record companies hate, but musicians love. Again, if you haven't seen the interview with D'Angelo and Nelson George asked D'Angelo, what is the funkiest album ever? D'Angelo says, Parade. There's another clip going around right now with Jill Scott, and Jill Scott is talking about Under the Cherry Moon, which she means Parade, but she waxes poetic about how important Parade is to her.
And that's actually, she's saying again, but she's been saying that for about 10 years.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. So to me, that album spoke individually to Prince's musical abilities, agreed Wendy. It didn't sound like anybody else. True. It was just Prince doing something different. Musically, it reflected him the best. Despite having some issues with Prince, Brown Mark recognized how well everyone in the band was working together. It was the most musical album we'd done. The revolution was at its peak, and there was nothing holding us back. He gave us full freedom. We'd jam, and he'd be running around, screaming, record that, run the tape. Then he'd take that junk home and have it all polished up the next day. Like, wow, dude, do you sleep? Now, one of the things I forgot to mention about the Boston show, when Lisa plays that piano solo on Anotherloverholenyohead, it's incredible. Eric Leeds reflected that along with the Family album, which I consider a Prince album. Ooh, I love that. Eric Leeds said that? I got to read that one more time really slow. Eric Leeds reflected that along with the Family album, which I consider a Prince album. There was never anything approaching a perfect Prince album for me because Prince is too eclectic for my taste. Now, this is actually a really important quote because I feel like a lot of people feel like Eric Leeds, that Prince was too eclectic for their taste. Yeah. And that's actually the reason why I love Prince, is because he was eclectic. But some people want to put you in a box and they only want you to do that thing, going back to our conversation that we had at the top of the hour. So I don't, Parade had probably the greatest ratio of songs that really did something for me. I don't really know if Prince was disappointed with Parade. If he was disappointed, it was maybe by the fact that it didn't sound more reckless than it did. Now that is an interesting insight. So maybe Prince was responding to the polished quality of it. Maybe it wasn't as raw as the live show, like you were saying, Michael. So maybe that, yeah, okay. That was a great album, and I was really proud of the work I did on that, says Peggy. But the version I worked on never came out. Let's pause right there. I was really happy with the music that we recorded for Under the Cherry Moon, but not the actual record. So this might be also another thing too. The reason why Prince said that wasn't it. The only song that was mine that stayed unchanged from the original sessions was Sometimes It Snows in April, and the rest was changed. You can hear the drums that I mic'd on Under the Cherry Moon, but everything else is just gone. I think he got so lost on this album, the sound just got washed out. Now, I think it was Nick in the chat who said that Parade sounds low, but I always like maxed up the volume, so I never really noticed it.
Didn't remember when we got to the part where they were talking, when they were actually recording the first 3 or 4 songs, and that whole talk, they talked about how the way it sounded when he first did it, and then how it sounded way different by the time it got done. It was like it was way better before it's almost, I'm not going to say overproduced, but whatever they were adding or changed. And I wonder if the whole album sort of kind of went through a process of that, you know?
Well, yeah. I'm glad you used that word, because that phrase was something that began to get associated with Prince going into the 90s, was overproduced, right? A lot of people had the problem with Emancipation. It sounded overproduced. So I don't think you're wrong for at least, because it makes us wonder, is this the moment? If you want to say Prince started overproducing things, was this one of the moments when he started doing that? So I'm glad you said that.
Yeah, Lady Cab Driver, man, this really touches my soul. Yeah, I can't even read this, so I'll take it off. All right. So the reviews were mixed. I'm so sorry. I'm getting so emotional. And the reason I'm getting so emotional is that D'Angelo, especially if you watch that Nelson George video, he was a music head, just like we're all music heads. And if you watch that video, you'll understand how powerful and how important music is, and also how important Parade is. So, yeah. Okay. Oh boy, I wasn't expecting this. Okay. The reviews were mixed, but mostly positive, especially in Europe, where Parade was announced as the best album of 1986 by 2 prominent English public music publications.
You know what? Let me give you a second. You take a second. I'll read it.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. The reviews were mixed, but mostly positive, especially in Europe, where Parade was announced as the best album of 1986 by 2 prominent English music publications, The New Musical Express and The Face, with Kiss getting declared the best single by many music critics. In the United States, the album was praised by multiple publications, including Detroit Free Press, which stated that the album was a confirmation of Prince's place as a superior medalist, arranger, and player, as well as a celebration of his creativity. The New York Times rated the album as very good and highlighted Girls and Boys and Another Lover Hole in Your Head as standout tracks. Their review noted the tide that had turned on him over the last year by pointing out that Parade was an attempt to recoup ground lost by the negative publicity surrounding Prince personally. Despite the mostly positive reviews, this was his first album since 1982 that failed to land the top spot in the United States, peaking at number 3 on the Billboard Top Pop Albums and number 2 on the Billboard Top Black Albums. For Susan Rogers, her frustration lay not in the music, but in the way the album sounded. She says, I love the record. I love Another Lover Hole in Your Head, Girls and Boys, Under the Cherry Moon. I think Kiss is a great song. I wish Parade was sonically a little bit more even because it was done half at the warehouse on the Soundcraft, which still couldn't begin to compete with the sonic clarity of Sunset Sound. There's a disparity there. I would have been, it would have been, I think, probably a better record if they'd done it all at Sunset Sound. Also, because he kept adding songs too. I think it's not as clear and not as concise of a theme package as some of the other albums. He said sonic clarity wasn't important. He would always say that it didn't matter and he'd go for the excitement. But it became increasingly important, I thought, as he became more and more popular. You have an obligation to deliver a record that's sonically competitive. After selling a million albums of Purple Rain, I think we're a little obligated to step up our quality a little bit. And speaking personally, I kind of wish we had. On Parade, I can hear that damn Soundcraft, and I'm sorry that we used the Soundcraft to record Mountains and record Girls and Boys. I wish the record was a little better. I think when you are on top, I guess you can pretty much get away with everything. But when I listen to Parade now, I'm embarrassed at some of the things that we did, which I just wish sounded better. But at the time, he didn't complain. Lastly, oh my God, I was like, this is the record. This is such a great record, Susanna thoughtfully recalled. Wendy and Lisa were so vital to his creativity and that he allowed them to have such a huge influence. I felt that he was being fully realized as an artist during this particular period. And I felt that Parade was a great record. Regardless of it, it was, regardless of if it was for the Under the Cherry Moon or not. I loved every track that came out of it. It's not the ultimate Prince record, argues Rogers. It's a great record. It's not as important, I think, as the record that followed it. Wow.
So I want to say something about that quote, and I'm sure Prof Duff and Brother Dean, for y'all to keep me straight on this. When I was listening to that quote, and the reason keep me straight because y'all know I'm the least hip hop person on the planet. But when I was hearing that, I was thinking about the sonic changes that happened in hip hop from 85 to 95 and how in a lot of cases what's considered the golden age of hip hop, you can actually draw a timeline to how they actually sounded sonically and how for a lot of people hip hop became too glossy for them. And if you think about the songs they mentioned and the time that they mentioned, it is from the notion of, and I know Questlove talked about this, that hip hop got a lot of its DIY sensibility from Prince, right? And so what you're seeing and what I think you're hearing, that's Susan Rogers talking, right? Is that Peggy or Susan talking? Susan talking about that she wanted Prince to go more from the DIY aspect to the more that you made it as a star now. And I'm not saying I disagree or agree with her, but it just made me think about how kind of hip hop, it kind of mirrors how hip hop went from a DIY to a kind of more glossy kind of thing. And people kind of had problems with that transition. So it made me think about, and I never thought about it that way to reading this quote, that at some point, if you are the biggest star on the planet now, how long can you hold on to the DIY of it? And you got to think about Paisley Park isn't built yet. So it's not what you have at Paisley Park. It's still what's happening in your house and how that sound, because I've actually heard people say that they like not me, but I've heard people say that they like the Black Album less after it was released originally. I mean, for an original, because for them, hearing the old way, and this particular person said that it felt like I was getting something I wasn't supposed to have, right? In the old way it sounded, as opposed to getting it released originally, it was just too slick and too glossy for them, if that makes sense. All right, I'll shut up.
Yes. My apologies. I'm also thinking about Ricky and how Ricky love to be here right now. So, Celie, if you don't mind to read about April 1986. But before we do, let's look at this amazing cover of the Parade album. And I'm so excited that Laura LaPuna will be talking to us about this for I Wonder You 40. So we'll do a deeper dive into this cover, a gatefold. I always loved it when Prince did gatefolds. So yeah. Okay, Celie, take it away.
Well, I'm just glad you did because I stared at that album, the inside of it, the sleeve that the record was in. I stared at that for hours upon hours. Right?
Yes, actually, you just reminded me. So for those of you who haven't seen it,
there we go.
This is what the cover looks like. And the inside is this like amazing collage that I just spent hours and hours and hours and hours and hours looking for sure. Go ahead.
I think the dopest piece of art in that though is it the sleeve that you pull out? Was there another one?
Oh, the sleeve.
Or am I just thinking of the inside cover? I can't remember.
This is yeah.
That one. Yeah, that's the
there
one
we
I
go.
was yeah, that was it right there for me. That's just my teenage years for me right there.
Yeah.
And then all the credits on the back, which was incredible. And then, my favorite one is the one where he talks about Claire Fisher. Special thanks to Claire Fisher for making brighter the colors in black and white.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That quote blew my mind. Like first time I read that. And it's particularly for those of us who were coming from, there were two groups, there were two groups. Those of us who spent hours with the Parliament Funkadelic album covers and with the Ohio Player album covers, you felt like, though we weren't using this word a lot back then, the Parade and the Around the World in Day albums really felt like, even the Sign of the Times, those three really put me in the zeitgeist of Parliament Funkadelic and Ohio Players and like all those great funk and soul. Don't let me forget Isaac Hayes, because that Isaac Hayes album cover is also very iconic. So yeah, so it was just the fact that I appreciated how much art Prince gave us with his covers, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah, 1999 covers direct.
That's
direct Parliament Funkadelic.
Exactly.
So I love this question from Sanique, and I would love if everyone would put in the chat, like, what is your favorite Prince cover? So Sanique is asking, is Parade the greatest of all time Prince cover? I would say no.
Sign of the Times.
There you go. That would be mine as well. Sign of the Times. That would be mine.
It lives up here. Well, I guess I can't see it from the angle. But
what about you, Silly?
I'm gonna be that dude everybody hate. For me, it's the run from For You to Love Sexy. Like the whole run from For You to the whole run for me, it was just amazing. It was like every time it was like, how can it get better? Like the album covers would inspire me and entertain me as much as the album. And like I like it was like, it wasn't just that he was becoming a new person with every album. It was he was becoming a new person with every album. And then he was just pulling these ideas. Now I know, not from out of nowhere, but you think 15, 16, 17 years old, you're just thinking like, how in the hell is he doing this? How in the hell, and which I'm glad why both of you guys have done the work to interview those people who did the graphics and to interview those people. So that my 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old questions of how the hell, but from For You to Love Sexy, it was just I can't imagine who I became as a person without those album covers. And then after that, there are a few more that you intersperse in that I go, yeah, these are cool. But that 78 to 88 run, oh my God, was just for me, I'll put it to you this way. I'll put whatever I'll put Prince's, what's that, 20-year run? 10-year run. I'll put Prince's 10-year run of album covers with anybody else's 10-year run of album covers. That's how I put it.
He would obliterate it. I mean, the only person that group I can think of is maybe Led Zeppelin. Like
Right.
Led Zeppelin had some really interesting covers. But yeah.
Yeah. All right, I get to read. April 1986.
Wait a minute. What am I doing? What am I? I'm acting a fool. Okay. Get everything down. There we go. Wait a minute. All right. I'm knocking stuff over. Sounded like my granddad. I don't think this is Susan Rogers' quote. I don't think he was unhappy with the parade record, according to Susan Rogers, but he was unhappy with a lot of other things. End quote. As I guess Susan continue, he was not happy with that movie. He was not happy with.
I'm sorry, where are we at?
We're
April 1986.
April, which one?
1986.
Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah. He was not happy with that movie. He was not happy with his life at the time. He had made serious judgment errors making a movie. He was aware of that. I do not believe in my heart of hearts that he was disappointed in the Parade album. I know he was disappointed with the movie. Susanna even related a story to me. I came to the house one morning and he said, oh, we had a terrible night last night. He was lying on the floor, just lying face down on the floor saying, I hate this movie. I hate this movie. I hate this movie. He was really miserable and he knew it just wasn't happening. Also, there were tensions in his relationships with her. He had gone further than he had gone with anybody else. She was wearing his ring. And I think while he loved her, he didn't want to lose her. He didn't think he could carry out this commitment. They were fighting a lot and it was sort of over nothing. And he was trying to get that record done. In the quote, the month of April would include a number of changes in his relationship with Susanna. And as usual, it would be reflected in his music. Here's a quote by Jerome Benton. He always had an idea of building a place where he and his band could go create. It was his dream and he stayed with his dream. Quote. All right, let's continue on. Prince was under a great deal of stress and had entered a series of projects that all had the potential to destroy the momentum he gained over the last few years. One of the biggest was his $10 million gamble. Construction of his Paisley Park studio complex had begun. Brett Theone of Bodo Design was the architect for the facility. It was built by Bosegart Christensen, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, a local construction company. The 65,000 square, let's say that again, the 65,000 square foot complex would house 3 recording studios and an area that could be used for live events, rehearsals, or locations for films. This is Susanna talking. Prince's vision at the time was the studios and soundstage to do his own movies and his own writing. A rehearsal space where he'd have his offices, have a record company. I want to make sure I said that right. A rehearsal space where he'd have, yes, his offices, have a record company. He just wanted an all-inclusive experience for him. I was there when he bought the land. It was empty, nothing. We were living in the Galpin house while that was being built, in the quote. Chanhassen is 20 minutes away from downtown Minneapolis. Damn, it seems longer than that, but okay. Chanhassen is 20 minutes from down Minneapolis. Prince's home and rehearsal space was relatively close, but the entire area was largely open field. Jerome Benton explained Prince's logic behind the location. He had control, with it being right where it needed to be, right there in the country, on the outskirts of Minneapolis. No reason for you to be peeking over his wall if you didn't live there, end of quote. The facility would be a place for Prince to work, but also act as a home for him. In essence, he would eventually turn the studio into his home the studio in his home to a home in his studio. A portion, this is a quote, a portion of it was like a stayover where if he was in the studio late, which he always was, he could just crash for a few hours and get back in the studio, according to Theone. The facility wouldn't officially open up until September 11, 1987. 9/11. But by that point, he had been recording and rehearsing at Paisley Park for several months. Until it was complete, he sometimes referred to his warehouse as Paisley Park.
Mm.
All right. So a lot is going on right now.
How old is Prince right now at this point?
27.
27.
Hmm.
Very
Yeah.
young.
Very young. Yeah. Very young for sure. All right. Michael, do you mind reading Tuesday, April 1st? And you can skip the quote.
All right. Tuesday, April 1st. So Mountains, Horns for 12-inch version mix. Washington Avenue Warehouse, India, Minnesota. Producer Prince.
Oh, Edina.
Edina. All right. Edina. Producer Prince. Artist Prince. Engineers David Z. Rifkin and Susan Rogers. Assistant engineer is Todd Hemmerman. And Prince had been using the Fairlight keyboard, but sometimes struggled with how to stretch its potential and decided to bring in an expert to help, according to Todd Hemmerman. I got a call from Alan Lee saying, "We got this Fairlight from you guys, but Prince needs somebody to run it. Could you recommend a programmer?" And I just said, "Well, that would be me." So they flew me up for an interview and I got the gig. And so I basically became a programmer for Prince. But the foot in the door was because I knew how to run the Fairlight. Although it is unclear the date of Hemmerman's, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, first session, it happened around this period at the warehouse when he arrived to watch Prince working on an update of the extended version. Quote,
Yes, let's do it.
he started by just playing drums for probably 5 or 6 minutes, and the whole thing is going on in his head. I'm thinking of the movie Amadeus when Mozart has the whole symphony in his head, and Prince is, maybe that's a bit of a stretch, but Prince is playing drums, and I remember him saying, "Are you ready? Roll tape." Because he's ready to go. And Susan's trying to dial in a level for one of the tom mics. And Prince is just like, "Go, go, go." And so he cut drums. And then he's like, "Give me the bass." So I hand him the bass and he says, "Hand me the guitar." So I give him the guitar. And he's laying down guitar shit that was just like, and I'm a John Scofield fan. And he's doing these licks that remind me of John Scofield. And I'm like, this guy can play like that? It blew my mind. And it was really a cool 12-inch. So that was my first session. And I remember going, "Oh my God, what did I just witness?" That happened over and over.
Can you
I would,
imagine? Can you imagine your first day with Prince and you're in the studio and he's cutting the extended version of Mountains? That's incredible.
give me the bass. Now hand me the guitar. Come on. During the mix, Matt Bliston and Eric Lees were brought in to add their horns to the mix. The horn parts on the album version are pretty sparse, remember Leeds. There's a couple of lines, but we did a 12-inch version that which is my favorite 12-inch that Prince ever did. I think it's a great performance, just the whole idea of the 12-inch. I guess the horn parts in themselves don't really stand out as being anything special, but it was just cool. Status: the full 11-minute version of Mountains would be edited down 9 minutes and 54 seconds for release. And let me just say, whatever edition they decide to put out with Parade when it does come out, I'm gonna need the Mountains and your Another Level Hole in Your Head 12-inch mixes. I'm gonna need them on Atmos. Chris, come on now. So that's all I can say.
All right. Celie, do you mind reading Wednesday, April 2nd? And you can skip the quote.
Wednesday, April 2nd. Wonderful day. Possible mix for a movie. Do your live. Possible mix for a movie. Another Level Hole in Your Head. Extended mix. Possible mix. Washington Avenue Warehouse, Edina, Minnesota. Producer Prince. Artist Prince. Engineer Susan Rogers. Prince worked on mixes for It's a Wonderful Day, Another Level Hole in Your Head, and Do Your Live during this session, which went past midnight. An attempt at creating an extended version of Another Level Hole in Your Head was made, but it would be set aside after this session and revisited during the spring after the song had been worked out for the live shows. Once the session wrapped, Prince immediately left town for another one-off performance, this time at the Metro in Boston. So far, the pattern for these preview shows mirrored what he scheduled for the Purple Rain tour 2 years earlier. Status: the extended version of Another Lover Holding Your Head that was worked on during this session remains unreleased.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I just want to say the only reason I know Edina is because the first time I went to Minneapolis to do research for my book, I stayed at a Motel 6 there. And and show you how country I was, I paid my whole week with a postal money order. So yeah, that's the only reason I know that. So, but yeah, I'm that Metro Center. Yeah, just to say that Boston show, one of my favorite shows.
So, I mean, like Michael Dean, so this extended version was worked on during the session, remains unreleased. So there's a lot of that. Exactly. All right. Michael, do you mind reading Thursday? Because I have some articles I want to read. Otherwise, you'll be hearing from me forever.
All right. Thursday, April 3rd, 1986. Venue, Metro, Boston, Massachusetts. Capacity 1,250, sold out. Quote,
yes,
the great Roy Bennett. I always felt that he was better live than he was on an album. It was more refined. There was a lot more power to it. There was a lot more emotion to it. And it got deeper because he had time to digest what it was. In the month since the First Avenue concert, the show had already started morphing. Songs like Paisley Park were dropped. and others like The Dance Electric and Love or Money were added. How much is...
I thought we were going to get a
how much is that doggy in the window, followed by medley, excuse me, that included an instrumental version of Lady Cab Driver, Automatic and DMSR. Boy, he was cooking.
One of the greatest melody runs in a Prince show ever. Yes. Go ahead, brother.
Ever.
Automatic and DMSR were also included, and several tracks were shuffled to a different part of the set list. Prince seemed to be looking for the best lineup of songs, but it was the lineup of the new band that was causing frustration for some, recalls Wendy. The Revolution at the time wondered why he was putting so many people on stage with us. And we're like, why does he need more? What's going on here? Is there a boredom setting in with him? Does he just need more stimulation on stage to play off of? And that's when things started getting kind of kooky during the parade tour. Plus, he had this crazy relationship with my sister, and that ended up spilling really bad stuff onto me, and it was awful. Prince was also trying to put up a wall between the Melvin twins, keeping them apart as much as possible, which was causing extreme pain for them, as Wendy reflects on that period. It was afterwards that everything started going downhill. Prince was also transitioning from Purple Rain guitar hero to the front man who focused on singing and dancing, giving Wendy a chance to shine on lead guitar with only minor exceptions, as Lisa recalls. When you think about it, he could play anything on his record, but then he went on tour. He put his band together where eventually he didn't even have to pick up a guitar. Prince would occasionally play a solo on Head and on America.
That was some mean plucking at the end of Head. Go ahead, brother.
But Wendy was sharing the spotlight with him as the Keith Rogers to his Mick Jagger. Interesting. The following day, Prince flew back to Minneapolis to prepare for a trip to France. It is unclear if Prince recorded while he was home. So there was some drama going on in the group, huh?
Yeah, a lot of drama.
You know, that's what happens when you sleep with your guitar player sister. Making it messy.
That was the plane in our face era started. I think.
Yeah. So I have some images. So first of all, you know how I love my tickets. So we got a ticket for the Boston show here, and we also have a crowd.
Hey,
Yeah, that is 1986 right there.
shoot, that brother good for any era though. He, you know, player. You know what I'm saying?
Look at the chain. Look at the chain on the outside of the shirt across the tie.
That's Detroit, baby. What was this in Boston? Oh, this is Boston.
This is Boston.
Boston.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love this. I love all the fan photos. And this was the copy of the set list that you can see.
Wow.
I love all these sax solos. There's a lot of sax solos on here. And we got one Wendy solo. And I don't know what that is.
That's a hell of a set list, man.
Like, yes, indeed.
How do you feel, Celie, since you've listened to this show probably more than anybody? I'm going to be honest. I always feel some kind of way when Soft and Wet comes on. For me, it like, I don't know. I mean, I get into it. I mean, obviously, I love Soft and Wet. Soft and Wet is an amazing song. But in terms of the sequencing of the show and where we are in 1986, like, how did you feel? And, you know, about this. Oh, and we must point out that this is obviously Prince's handwriting, but in case you don't know, this was handwritten by Prince. So that's really, really cool.
It was just thinking about hearing it the first time. It felt like a special gift because this was a song from the first album from the dude with the afro, where people was like, who is this dude with the afro? So I get you, and I think that he fixed the sequencing by saying, okay, I'm gonna do Want to Be Your Lover in the head. I think that's what he's trying. Like, I think he kind of knew that the sequencing would be off, but he was I can't think of another place where it would have fit. And I really do think Prince was giving a nod, a kind of, I hear some of y'all, I ain't left y'all. And to show y'all that I hear y'all and that I ain't left y'all, here's the song that y'all first discovered me. And so just hearing it, I'm not going to even lie, to this day, I get emotional. Even like as many times as I've heard that show. So I'm with you on the sequencing is a little off, but I was just so happy with the gift.
Yeah.
That it just it was almost it was when you talk about Happy Prince, it was like everything past
celebration.
Yeah,
I made it.
Yeah, exactly. It was like let's celebrate what we are, folks. We made it. The dude who y'all was rocking with back in '78, the dude who all the critics said ain't gonna be here. I'm glad you said let's celebrate. So that's
and he's smiling, like you said, it's happy just to show everything. Even at this point, was still an early point we didn't know at the time, but it's sort of the first look back to be like, yes,
exactly.
Just everything that y'all made for me. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if it's on this show, but at least the Detroit one where he sort of changed the lyric, something like "I don't have money" or something. I'm thinking of a different song, but I think this is the first time he's ever looked back, and it made it seem like he was sort of celebrating just the past. Yeah, you know.
And
go ahead. What do you think about this comment from LTKK? He could have retired after Hit and Run. Not for real, but that felt like a greatest hits at a celebration.
You know, it's funny that you say that because
he even jokes about that, right?
Yeah.
Said he was going to retire.
It's funny that you say that, even though we got so many parade around the world in the day songs. So I get that it can feel like a greatest hit show, but we still got a lot of the current songs, right? So it's like and for me, I'm counting Around the World in a Day because we didn't get Around the World in a Day tour. So I'm counting them together.
Right.
So if you go through it, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm counting Dance Electric, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm counting Love Bazaar 14. I'm counting America 15, Kiss 67. We got 17 current songs.
Mm.
But it's also a celebratory feel because we got all of the throwbacks, right? You get your Purple Rain, you get your I Want to Be Your Lover, you get your AUTO-matic, DMSR. You know what? Now thinking about it, it may be, and again, once I say this, we're gonna come up with another tour, another show that trumps this. This may be the most perfectly blended present and past show Prince ever did. Because if you remember, the complaints about the Purple Rain show was he wasn't doing enough hits from the past.
Right.
And what I liked about the tours up to that point, there was a theme. Prince would so if you look at the 1999 show tour and the Controversy tour, both 1999 and Controversy, the shows began with the last song performed on the last tour.
Yes.
So Prince was always recalling his past and then bringing you immediately into the future where I'm going to play all my new stuff. We get to Parade, and because we didn't get a proper Around the World in a Day tour, we get this perfect blend of 85, 86, but also 78. I'm really just now thinking about the fact that this may be the most perfectly blended in the moment Prince combined with past Prince that we ever got on record. I may be wrong, but I'm gonna say that for now. I'll shut up.
Yes.
I'm
And immediately somebody loves sex. And I said immediately, and Mary 10, I ain't gonna argue with you because when he does Love Bazaar on Love Sexy, that's actually my favorite Love Bazaar because it's funky as hell. And he said, I'm from Minneapolis, we don't play that. So again, I'll agree that Love Sexy may even be as equally balanced as Parade. I'll shut up.
I was going to say too, I think these tours sort of have their own sort of purposes. This is his first tour after being a superstar.
Yep.
And it's the first time I think he set out an album and we didn't see him. So he's got a lot of ground to cover. And I think the celebratory thing, it's a different sort of interpretation of the revolution that we have never seen before. And his interpretation of how he's presenting it has never been seen before, that type of Prince as well. So I think there's so many new things going on, but it's also, I'm still here. And I think this is called the Hit and Run Tour. So a lot of people are not, the intention is there's only a few of y'all that are even going to see this. I'm just in and out, but here I am in a way you've never seen me before. This is the Smiling Tour. This is where he's, and it had never been done. And then when you go back to Love Sexy, playing those songs, but that's Prince putting to bed the old Prince as well. So the purpose of that show was entirely different, right? That's to show you, I know what y'all want to see me as, but I don't want to do that no more. I'm on this, which are very different intentions behind these tours as well.
So, Celie, I kind of want to go back to what you were saying about the Controversy tour and the 1999 tour. I was kind of used to him doing all of his new material,
right,
and not going back. So even in real time, when I started getting the bootlegs, it was jarring for me because I was like, why you want to do that? I mean, because I had, like the medley thing, I associated with like Al Green and people. Like, why you want to do it? Like, and I know, so I'm going to probably get hate mail for this, but the one thing that I really, truly hated in a Prince concert was that darn sampler set. I hated the sampler set. I was like, why are you going to play 1 second of a song? And I was just, because I was so used to him, like taking, I guess Love Sexy. Is when he he does it here in this Boston show as well. Like he starts the medley Prince. This is the beginning. I guess this is the beginning of medley Prince. And I think I'm also revolting against medley Prince, because I'm so used to Prince in rehearsal, working on a song for 30 minutes, hour, 90 minutes, and you're going to give me like 90 seconds of a song. Like, what up with that?
Right.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Now, and I'm with you. That was like, for me, that was my first pushback on the new tour. You know, again, we didn't get enough Batman and Graffiti Bridge songs. And yet I love that show. Like, it's like two things. Like I'm mad that we didn't get Electric Chair. I'm mad that we get some other things. But then just as that Japan show, the new tour, the one that, aired on television, maybe, and I want to say this clearly, I'm not saying best, but it may be one of the most perfect shows. Just like a perfect show. Like, I can't find, even though it doesn't have all the songs I want, it's one of the few shows where I can't find a flaw. Right? I think about Miko's plucking on Do Me Baby, and it's just like, really? Like, damn. Like, so yeah, but like you said, we get to begin. And also, I think we also have to get to the point where by 86, we had to also, we didn't. By 86, Prince had enough jams to where he kind of had to do medleys. Like, and so once you, and jams to where he's filling up the charts. So a lot of people know them. So it becomes an hour and a half show. Now again, later in life, I used to be mad when he would say, I didn't get mad when he would say so many hits, so little time, but I'll get mad when he would say, so many hits, so few time, and then he'd do a cover. I'm like, well, that's the reason the time, damn it. That's why the time's short. You up here doing them damn covers. So, but yeah, I'm with you. I was like, I liked new Prince. I like new songs, Prince. And so I tended not to like as much when they were greatest hit shows. But then if I go back and watch them, like, I'm glad I almost didn't go to the Welcome to America tour. Like, I almost was like acting an ass because I knew that's what it was, right? And I was on I want the new shit. If he ain't doing the new shit, I was like, and I bought the ticket begrudgingly. I actually went to a Prince show with an attitude. I'm gonna see goddamn greatest ass hits because he's bullshit right now. But I've been with him this long. And about 3 songs in, I was like, yeah, I was fucking tripping. Yeah, my bad, dog.
He knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. All right, I'll be quiet. Go ahead.
All right, I want to double down just a hot second on the new tour. Now, if you are new to Prince and you haven't really seen a lot of Prince, I do think, in addition to Sign of the Times, the new tour is one of Prince's best tours. Now, a lot of Prince heads do not agree. A lot of people do not like the new tour, but I'm actually with C. Lee, and I think it's like one of the most amazing. I don't know what it is about it. It's obviously he still has the energy, like from the Glam Slam show. TDK is still there, so like they're dancing up the wazoo, and like his hair is flowing in the wind. Like, still has this like.
That's a lot to do with it too.
But it's the sequencing of the songs, Michael Dean. It's the sequencing. It's like one of the best sequence tours.
Musicianship.
And the musicianship as well. Like Miko is on fire.
Yeah.
Like, it was just incredible. And I don't understand why some people hate on the new tour. I just don't get it. It is such an amazing tour. Now, I mean, I know I personally love the Loop of the Future track and how he played all those songs on top of the Future. I think that's brilliant. But I know other people go like, yeah.
All right, let me jump in here. The one thing
that when they throw in Housequake and stuff into that too?
I hated that. Cause see, you have to understand, I'm not a house music person, so I was never big on just house music, period. So I hated that loop, but I ain't gonna lie. By the time we get to Kiss, I done forgot all that shit. Right. I ain't gonna even lie. Like I'm like, what the hell? And the minute Kiss kicks in, I'm like, oh well, we back to the. So, but yeah. I am one of those people who I hated how he looped. But I will say this: I love the Future. It's just that all the rest of the 3 songs that come after the Future are looped on the Future's groove. That's what I didn't like that 1999 is looped on the Future's Groove. I don't like that Housequake is looped on the Future's Groove.
Right.
But I love the Future.
Mm.
But like you, but again, by the time we get to Kiss, look here, I'm like the silly lover who lover ain't no good, but all I get is that little kiss on the cheek and I forget about everything. That's how Kiss is. Once I get the Kiss, he done sweet talk me into forgetting everything I was mad about. All right, I shut up.
All right. So we're gonna read some like a pre-check and then a couple of reviews of the Boston show, all by Jim Sullivan, actually. And this first one is Prince Reigns hub picked for a surprise concert. All right. It was the hottest ticket in town. Word about Prince's Metro concert broke at 10:30 yesterday morning on Boston radio stations. At 11 a.m., 1,250 tickets were put on sale at 2 outlets: the Orpheum Theater on Tremont Street and Nubian Notions, a convenience gift shop on Dudley Street. Said Nubian Notions, Gina Abdal Kalak, it was a madhouse in here. Really wow. The line was very long. Our tickets lasted an hour. That's actually pretty long. It lasted an hour. The Orpheum's Paul McDonald said it sold its allotment in 90 minutes. At 10:20 last night, Prince, the diminutive, mysterious pop star, hit the stage following an audience cheer of "We Want Prince." Shirtless and wearing a gold chain with a crucifix around his neck and a gold chain around his waist, double gold chain, Prince and his 12-piece band, The Revolution, swung into, hold on one second, let me try to do two things at once. Inside the Metro yesterday afternoon, Boston guitarist John Butcher surveyed the bustling interior of the club and pronounced, "This is madness." Butcher, a 1985 Grammy nominee, was hoping a music business connection might be able to score a ticket for him. "I hate to be a pain in the butt," he said, "but this transcends rock concerts. The guy is one of the top 5 draws anywhere on any level." "This is a lot of fun," said promoter Don Law of Tea Party Concerts. Also inside the club, it's great that he picked Boston. It obviously means that he has a very warm feeling for Boston. It's a credit to the Boston market. The behind-the-scenes machinations began Tuesday afternoon. Prince had been rehearsing with his 12-piece band, The Revolution, in his home city, Minneapolis. The rehearsals were going so well, according to tour manager Alan Leeds, that Prince decided on the spur of the moment to play a club gig before flying to Nice, France for 3 weeks of film work. Prince's management contacted Tea Party Concerts because Leeds said of the company's professionalism and grace under pressure. Another factor Leeds suggested was Prince's fondness for Boston in general and the Metro in particular. When we were last here on the Purple Rain tour, he said, "We didn't get to play Boston per se. We didn't get a chance to see Boston proper." In March of 1985, Prince quickly sold out 2 nights at Worcester Centrum. A Tea Party spokesman said Prince could have sold out for a solid week. And from the Metro in late afternoon, about 30 fans were looking for scappers. Boston University student Andy Fischel, 24, found a seller with 2 tickets for $250 back in 1986. That is a lot of money back in 86. $250 for 2 tickets. The women, 2 women and a man who asked that their names not be used because they had skipped work to see the show, paid $125 each. Marty Farrell, 21, paid the official price of $12.50.
Let me stop you just for a second. See, before the internet, we had enough sense not to get busted with our other woman at the concert. Keep moving. Go ahead.
But I want to focus on $12.50 for the actual ticket, but people were scalping them for $125 and $140, and actually it was $280 for 2, so $140 a piece. That's insane.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money. He drove his delivery van to the Orpheum yesterday morning when he first heard about the concert and bought 2 tickets, the limit per person. He said he watched others buy tickets, change clothes, and try buying again.
Damn. that was the scam back then.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
Prince, long a controversial pop music cult figure, broke through to the mainstream in 1983 with his 1999 album. I'm not going to read that, but I'm not going to read that. Obviously, I'm going to go here. So said Don Law, I think Prince's show here was one of the hottest shows ever in the city. Everybody went berserk. Obviously, said Leeds, he remembered the club, and a gig in the Northeast made sense because we're flying from New York on Friday. Leeds had no comment about any further tour dates. Yesterday morning, I'm curious why he did do Boston instead of New York if they were flying out of New York. But he probably wasn't ready yet for New York, probably. But yesterday morning around 5:30, Prince's equipment began arriving and the Metro staff began the load in. Although the veil of secrecy was tightly drawn, rumors leaked Wednesday to MTV and Entertainment Tonight. The organizations placed calls to Metro owner Lyons, who played dumb, stating, I have no idea. Albert O, a disc jockey at licensed Spit DVA Club, said Wednesday night, everybody at the club knew there was going to be a big show, but no one knew what it was. Prince occasionally has played unannounced concerts at First Avenue, a club Lyons formerly managed in Minneapolis. He has also recently joined his protege, Sheila E. in concert for brief segments. Last night's performance, however, was his first major out-of-town club show in years. This is a really important point. So whoever saw that Boston show, I'm sure it was incredible, just based on the audio that we have alone. Yesterday afternoon, a pleased Lyons walked about his club. This is such a brilliant stroke, said Lyons, a full-blown production in such a small venue. I'm really happy. It's such a bright, sunny day. It's been a massive undertaking, but mostly it's moving along as smooth as silk. Now, I only got to see Prince one time in Atlanta at a club. Now, Club Prince is totally different from yes, it's so different. So whoever got to see this Boston show, kudos to you. That got to be incredible. Okay.
And I was gonna say, well, good. You got another article to read.
Yeah, I want to read this one.
Go ahead.
I want to read this about the fans. So, to royally loyal fans, he's everything by Diane Alters. They sported matching pink lipstick, blue jeans, and breathless giggles, and they screamed in unison. Can you believe Jerome looked at me? Shrieked Tanya Snyder, 14, to her three companions. She thought she saw Jerome, who had appeared in Purple Rain and movie starring Prince. The sight only whetted the appetites of the 4 teenage Prince fans. They danced with excitement as they waited in front of the Metro yesterday afternoon for a glimpse of the elusive rock star who was booked into the club for a surprise concert yesterday evening. Though Snyder nearly swooned at the sight of Jerome, she maintained her loyalty to the star she had come to see. Oh no!
Wow!
I don't like that. I'm not going to read that. That is really bad. I'm not reading that. Okay, if you can read the article, you can read it for yourself, but that I'm not going to repeat. That's really bad. 4 teenage Prince fans were the noisiest of a small clutch of about 30 who braved the threats of T-shirted security men to wait for the entrance of the Minneapolis-based rock star. Behind the lively teenagers stood Debbie at 27, almost twice their age. As old as I am, I'm holding on to my youth, said Debbie, a teacher who says she is married to a Harvard professor. She asked that her last name not be used because you know how Harvard is. Oh my God. You can identify with him as a Black person, said Debbie, trying to explain her interests. He just crosses over so many lifestyles. Plus, he's just downright sexy. Quieter still was Sharon Provencher, 19, who wore a black lace t-shirt and white jacket with 3 Prince buttons pinned to it. From her single earring dangled her symbols of the star, 3 crosses, a silver dove, and a piece of black lace she got from a fan at a Prince concert at the Centrum last year. Everything is Prince, said the Boston University student. It's like a religion. She had disdain for younger fans who converted to Prince only after seeing his movie, Purple Rain.
As the snobbery begins.
The real fans, the real fans.
This is in '86. They saying
This is 86, yes. April 4th, 86. The real fans get into his music, his lyrics, she said. The small club, she said, would be packed with fans who would be crowded in so tightly that it would be like touching him. She paused, thinking about what she had just said. Oh, God, she sighed. All right.
This is interesting. What magazine? Oh, this is a newspaper. I'm sorry.
Yeah, Boston Globe. Yes.
Boston Globe is hilarious.
You know,
they didn't have to print that.
No, they didn't have to print that.
I'm glad you mentioned that. So this is something for. I can't figure out a way how to write an article about this. So I'm gonna give this to Sanique and DE38A. I have found 3 times where Prince actually stopped or broke up a fight or a problem in the audience. It happened during the Purple Rain show, during the performance of America. It happened during this Boston show, during Mutiny. And if I'm not mistaken, it happened during the DNA show out in the Bay. And I always find that interesting because at this time in 1986, it was the hip hop shows are rowdy, right? That was it. But the fact that you have on tape 3 different times where Prince is breaking up or telling the audience to chill out, and it happens actually twice at the Boston show. Prince himself does it during Mutiny, and then at the end, the actual show isn't over. If you listen to the end of the tape for the Boston show, it isn't actually over because Jerome comes out. I think they hand out some stuff, and he's telling people, "Don't crowd the stage, don't crowd the stage." And it goes back to Prince said, because Prince says, "I mean it. I'll go home. I gotta stop. I'll go home. Take a step back." This pretty little girl in the front can't breathe, and so I just always thought one that was very interesting given the climate and what people were saying about the hip hop show. But most importantly to me, how chill Prince is in all 3 of those moments. Like it's not like, he's not bothered. He's not raising a ruckus. He's not calling for security, right? To me, that's like the ultimate cool dude. And if you want to talk about the ultimate hood cool dude, it's the dude who don't lose their mind when the crowd goes crazy. So I know we don't want to remember Prince for those kind of things, but that Boston show for me is also memorable, not only because it's a great show. So I'm gonna add that too, Sanique. I'm gonna add that and go look for that too. That Boston show, which means that it was probably could have been most show coming with that Boston at the end of that Boston show. And what makes it interesting now that we got the set list, what would they have come out there and played had they not stopped it after Jerome was getting stuff away? All right, I'll stop.
All right. So I have one more thing I need to read. And actually, we're going to, unfortunately, not do a lot of the outro stuff. We'll have to do it next week because I actually have a hard stop for a change. Unfortunately, I apologize. But I'm going to read this article, another article from the Boston Globe, also written by Jim Sullivan, who actually reviews the actual show. So this was posted on Saturday, April 5th. All right. In a word, steamy. In another, exhausting. And a third, exhilarating. Prince, I hate that he keeps calling him diminutive, funk rocker from Minneapolis, hit the Metro stage bare-chested and in a whirlwind of motion, and went on to play for 2 hours and 40 minutes with his 11-piece group, The Revolution. It was Prince's first gig following the release of his Parade album, and to date, the only scheduled U.S. gig. Yesterday, Prince flew to France for 3 weeks of film work. Thursday began as an event. Prince, one of the most popular of pop stars, actually playing a club. This is a huge deal at this point.
Yep.
Hordes of hopeful fans in Lansdowne Street, tickets selling for as much as $300, but it came off as less of a mega hype media circus than it did a long, hot bath of sensual, highly rhythmic funk rock. And make no mistake, the emphasis was on the funk. Opening with Around the World in a Day and Christopher Tracy's Parade, Prince immediately cast a sexual spell about the packed club, With ease, he restated his claim as the most erotic man in rock and roll. Prince is not as blatant as he was in his early days and at his Metro show 5 years ago, but even or especially in the context of his newer love songs. Sexuality is never far from the surface. Let's Go Fishing in the River of Love was his sly come on in new position. Prince is also one of the most mercurial, enigmatic men in pop music. Thursday, the Metro crowd did not hear Prince the pop craftsman or Prince the hit maker, the man who penned Little Red Corvette, 1999, Let's Go Crazy, or When Doves Cry. Those songs, largely responsible for Prince's mainstream breakthrough, were omitted from the set. Let's think about. I gotta give like a clap to Prince. He didn't play Little Red Corvette. He didn't play 1999. He didn't play Let's Go Crazy. He didn't even play When Doves Cry. That is like incredible. Those songs, largely responsible for Prince's mainstream breakthrough, were omitted from the set. Included were 6 songs from Parade, highlighted by the slinky single Kiss, and bump and grind chestnuts, such as Head, I Want to Be Your Lover, and Controversy. After forays into pop hard rock, Purple Rain, and neo psychedelia around the world in a day, Prince's show represented a return to his early funk roots, even more so than Parade, the album. Prince has often been compared to Sly Stone and Jimi Hendrix, other Black musicians who crossed over to the black and white mainstream. At the Metro, though, as Prince uttered a series of guttural "good God" cries, he seemed more to be following in the footsteps of that primal funketeer, James Brown. The star musician was not Prince the guitarist, but the monster rhythm section of, and man, Brown Mark is a beast. That's my commentary. Like Brown Mark was, yeah. And drummer Bobby Z. And Bobby Z was also incredible, aided by the scratch guitar work of Wendy Melvoin. It's misprinted as Melvain. And,
Oh, wow.
and Miko Weaver. The lead instrumentalists were saxophonist Eric Leeds and trumpeter Matt Bliston. They contributed an array of honking staccato bursts over the churning rhythms. There were departures, the churchy but guitar-crazed Purple Rain, the rousing surprise boogie of Whole Lot of Shaking Going On, the silly and sing-songsy Raspberry Beret, but mostly this was hard-driving, blistering funk. Clearly for Prince, the fun is back. It looked like there was no other place in the world he wanted to be. At Providence Civic Center in 1983, that was hardly the case. He played but an hour and put on a rote show, as if to say, baby, I'm a star, and you have the privilege of paying and watching me compress my hits into medleys. He was also distant from his band. Thursday, Prince was close to the audience and vice versa. There was also a winning, warm camaraderie within the band. Prince is obviously the band leader, but he's also one of the boys and girls. He frequently performed choreographed dance steps with his male backing vocal percussion trio, Jerome Benton, Wally Safford, and Greg Brooks, and guitarist still now like messing it all up, Malvain. It's like at first it was Melvain, but now it's Malvain. They can't spell Wendy's last name. One of the things I like about the way he describes Jerome, Wally, and Greg, he's given them respect because like in a lot of the other articles that we've read before, they always say something negative about the guys. So I really love that he just calls them his male backing vocal percussion trio. The band was tight, but also appealingly rough and raw. They pumped up the thick grooves, expanding and stretching them as far as they could. Moreover, they were proud. To borrow the title of an old Clash song, it seemed Prince of the Revolution wanted to be seen as the last gang in town. During Controversy, they launched into an extended shouting coda of a cocky ain't nobody bleep with us. But there were other sides too. Prince can be a ham and was willing to play the clown Prince too, pretending to rough up a photographer and then preening for him. At the end of the night, Prince muffed the band intros, laughed and said, "We're a bunch of fools in this band. Ah, yes, fools for love and sex. Long may Prince reign." I really like this review.
It'd be interesting to hear a critic who was like very much a fan of R&B and you
Mm,
know who went to the Earth, Wind and Fires and the
Right.
concerts before that could really sort of see what Prince was doing. But this is a great review though. I'm just curious.
Right.
yeah.
And
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to answer Sadiq's question. He asked about the panel after shows and those kind of things. Sadiq, I got to see 2 after shows. He actually played an after show in Jackson, Mississippi. It blew everybody's mind. Like, why would he do an after show? And it was a place called the Dock, and the Dock doesn't exist anymore. So every time I drive by there, and it doesn't exist. So he played an after show. He played like a almost hour and a half show at the Dock. I got to see him. I want to say it was in Birmingham, was in the 90s also. And then I got to see, first time I went to Minneapolis, Paisley Park. So I got to see him perform at Paisley Park. That was the time when Monica and I was there. And when we left Paisley Park, it was sunlight. So that's it. I just wanted to answer Brother Sneak's question.
All right. So really quickly, because I really do have to go, I want to make sure I am blown away that the Electric Vibe talked to the person that I really wanted to hear from, which is Steve Purcell. So I can't wait to listen to this. And if you don't know who Steve Purcell is, if you've seen that footage of Prince during the Nude Tour where he's playing the piano, or that is Steve Purcell. So Steve Purcell is sitting on some incredible footage. If you've seen Prince playing the ladder, with Sheila and all that, that is Steve Purcell footage. So very excited about this conversation. I haven't heard it yet, but I'm sure it's amazing because it's Steve Purcell. So shout out to the Electric Vibe for interviewing Steve Purcell. Someone mentioned this in the chat. I haven't listened to this yet, but I know that Dr. Fink was on this. So, obviously Funkatopia, they always do a good job. So I haven't watched this yet, but I'm sure
I've seen a little bit of this. That's good.
Yeah. And we won't go through, we'll talk about this later. We talked about, Jerome doing his own screening on April the 17th on the West Coast. If you're out there, if you're on the East Coast, I hope you'll join us for I Wonder You 40. We're going to have Brent Fisher. We're going to have Laura LaPuma. I'm not going to go through this again. We'll do it next week. We'll be 1 week out because I don't have any time. But if you are coming, it would be fantastic to get tickets to see Law if you want some live music in your life. So make sure you support Law. And then if you want to keep the after shows of the symposium going, it was just announced that on April 18th that they're doing it's not Prince, but it's all about Jay Dilla. They're doing a Donuts Forever, and it's going to be DJ Spinna and Questlove, 2 of the best DJs you can see. So you're kind of getting a twofer. And that's going to be very close to the venue. Actually, you can walk it. It's a long walk, but you could actually walk it from the symposium.
Long walk.
Yes. So if you want to hear good music, this would be fantastic for April 18th. And then if you're still here on April 21st, Questlove is doing a Prince DJ set at Brooklyn Bowl, one of his Bowl Train things. So that's also going to be really, really incredible. And the tickets are super cheap. They're less than $20. I can't remember what they are. So if you're still going to be here, I would highly recommend if you want to be with the Purple People to get your tickets now, because I'm sure that is going to sell out. So with that being said, there's a lot of people. Oh, we can't forget about this. So at the Dakota on April 20th, it's going to be Liv Warfield as well as Michael B. So if you're in Minneapolis, you definitely want to be at the Dakota. And then if you're in Hollywood, LA, Maite is doing a Glam Slam benefit. So there's stuff going on everywhere for Prince, as it should be. So I'm so happy that everybody is, doing the work so that we can celebrate Prince like he deserves. And there's going to be a conversation between Steve Park and Maite and B More in May and all of that. So really quickly, we've talked about that. We've talked about this. I just want to say that more and more Prince people are in need. Unfortunately, Jackie Thompson wants to move forward after lung cancer. So I hope that you will help her. She was critical, instrumental to Prince, just like if you know about Ruth, like Jackie was behind the scenes, really making things happen for Prince. Jackie is a very important person in Prince world in terms of making things happen. So please support her. And then
just good people too. Salute to Jackie.
Yes, very, very, yes, good people. And I apologize for going really fast, but as you know, we talk about this every single episode. So I hope you will forgive me for going super fast today. So obviously, Rich Benson's wife unfortunately passed away really quickly. So they're looking to help with the funeral expenses. So if you can help with that. Obviously, Addie Duran, unfortunately, she sprained or something with both ankles, so she's not very mobile. So please help her. Obviously, Troy is going through cancer again. This is his second bout. So please reach out to Troy and then support everyone that you can. And if you can't, just send them a kind word. And then obviously Dr. Funkenberry is still going through cancer as well. So it's just a lot going on right now. So, and then Des Dickerson. So Michael Dean, if you don't mind taking us out.
Wow. Great to be back. Great show. Salute to D'Angela Seeley. Also shout out to Ted, wherever you are out there. Everybody else that has contributed to this show. Salute to the chat.
Yeah.
Of course.
Just really quickly, if you guys haven't seen Ted's analysis of the war,
go
to his YouTube page. It is excellent. Check that out. All right, go ahead, brother.
All right, yeah, check that out. You talking about like the war, like?
No, the Prince's song, "The War." I'm sorry.
Okay. I was about to say. Okay.
but he breaks down lyrically how the war is speaking to exactly what's happening today.
Gotcha. What did Prince say? Something getting ready to bomb or something.
There you go.
But yeah, salute to everybody out there. Work it like a job. We'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.